Hi everyone and welcome to my weekly update with me, which Barry Market Analyst at Handtech Markets. Each week I take you through key events I believe will be driving your investments in the coming days. Now, moving into this week, certainly Donald Trump remains key in the headlines. All of his actions so far as president seem to be continuing to rock the markets either higher or lower. You've got the domestic side of this tax plan that came back into the focus last week after suggestions that in a couple of weeks' time he's going to announce something pretty major, which is going to help the US businesses and also individuals as well. That comes after the continued sort of pressure on the markets that have been facing from a lot of protectionist measures or leanings that he's been suggesting in recent weeks. Now, he's had meetings with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe at the weekend. They apparently went pretty well, all things considered, and now he's going to be turning his attention to Justin Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, who he's been sort of on a collision course, really, I think you'd imagine, with the NAFTA trade agreement that he's been so critical of. So that will be an interesting take on what happens there. But focus this week, I think, turns back towards Janet Yellen and monetary policy. She's got her congressional testimony this week before both houses. And it'll be certainly interesting to see what she comes out with in terms of inflation, the impact of improving inflation levels in the States, the prospect of 3 rate hikes this year, and also the what impact a fiscal expansion would be for the Fed. So focus would certainly be on all those measures and the impact on monetary policy for the Fed, and the markets will certainly be interested in that. Throughout this week, we've got a lot of inflation data for the major economies. You've got China on Tuesday, US and UK both also reporting inflation, and also retail sales as well, so lots going on. Now, in terms of your forex markets, you've got the dollar, which has now started to turn the corner again after these announcement on last Thursday of Donald Trump and this phenomenal tax plan that he's got. That's started to push treasury yields up. Is the reflation trade back on? If so, the dollar will start to push out, and that is starting to put pressure again on a lot of these forex majors. We've seen some turnaround in sentiment on the euro and also dollar yen, but nothing confirmed yet. The euro needs to drop below 105.77 to really put pressure on the downside. The dollar yen needs to break out above 114. Neither of these levels have really happened yet. In terms of your cable, basically trading in a sideways range above the 124.30 level, which is a key sort of mid-range pivot. Now, in terms of your commodity currencies, it's interesting that the RBNZ started to jawbone the Kiwi lower last week, and that has impacted on the chart already. That's sort of breaking down below 72.40. The Aussie is fairly stable at the moment, between 76 and 77. Will it actually start to roll over as well? So interesting ones to watch there across the majors. In terms of your equity markets, we've seen breakouts. We've seen the Wall Street markets all breaking to all new time highs, and the S&P, for example, now has breakout support between sort of 2285 to 2300. So that's a decent buying level there. But it's interesting to see the VIX at record lows again. Friday it closed below 11 now. That is extremely low on the VIX, and suggests that a level of complacency is sort of beginning to creep back into the market once more. Now, in terms of your DAX, it has actually now broken out on Monday morning. It's back above 11,700. That reopens the highs at 11,893. You've got the FTSE, which broke out last week above its near-term resistance, 7,205. That now targets the high at 7,354. So a few levels for you to work with there. But the equity markets are looking pretty positive once more. In terms of your commodity charts, well, you've got the gold price, which, as I said, is starting to come under a little bit of pressure. A little bit like the dollar yen. Hasn't quite confirmed a level yet because it's still holding on to the support at 12.20. Now, obviously, a stronger dollar is negative for gold, and it'll be interesting to see how that holds up. But on the flip side of that, if inflation is starting to pick up, and Janet Yellen does not come across as especially hawkish on Wednesday, inflation increasing, at the same time that rates are not increasing so fast, that suggests that real interest rates are an issue, therefore, which could be supportive for gold in that environment. So it's an interesting trade to watch there. But in terms of your oil price, very much range bound still. Basically, WTI is ranging in a $5 range at the low 50s, Brent crude $5 range in the mid 50s, and yeah, they continue to remain in place. In terms of your economic calendar, well, you've got, as I said, Chinese inflation at the beginning of the week, and also UK inflation. UK inflation expected to just tick mildly higher on Tuesday, but the main event will be Janet Yellen in her congressional testimonies on Tuesday and Wednesday, and US inflation, which starts to have an impact as well. Now, US inflation is actually expected to fall in the core basis on Thursday, and it'll be interesting to see what retail sales can do as well, because retail sales in the States have been improving in recent months, and it's expected to come through again with a nice improvement on the year-on-year basis up towards 4%. In the data on Thursday. So watch out for all these data points, lots going on. Janet Yellen, and obviously everything that Donald Trump has to say has an impact on the market still. So wish you good luck in all your trading, and I'll speak to you again next week. Thank you.